see what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here. You can take a break.
Hey, welcome to our first episode of Coldwell Banker Newton Insider. This is a great opportunity to have real estate professionals answer any questions you might have. We have a panel today of Jeff Groper, Valerie Wascott, Dan Demio, David Gordon, Carol Vagar, and Suzanne DeVood, and I'm Marcia McLean. Question we are answering today is, in such a competitive, seller's market, why hire a realtor? Some sellers might say, I can do this myself. So let's see what our experts have to say. Val, go ahead.
Okay. I think the reason you want to hire a realtor during this market is for a few reasons. Number one being preparing your home for sale. We work with buyers every day, so we know what buyers are looking for. So when you're getting your house ready, your style might be a little different than what a buyer is looking for, and we want to appeal to the masses. So that's one thing that we can help you do. We know how to do that.
Thing is that we get a second set of eyes that a lot of times if you live in the house, you don't see certain things that we catch when we walk through. I think also what's important is, like Val said, you do get it prepared the proper way so that when the buyers come in, they don't see any of the negative things that might be there that you don't catch. I also feel that as far as the house is generally your biggest asset, and if you don't want to take a chance on gambling with that asset and trying it on your own, it's better off to have a professional like us to come in. Yeah. We can always get the top dollar, and it's very emotional. So we are a buffer between the buyers and the sellers to be able to get the job done. And we have our relationship with all the other agents out there. So they're going to come and they're going to be comfortable working with us, unlike having to work directly with a seller.
Yeah. Dan, what do you think?
It's my opinion that not hiring an agent is definitely a mistake. I think the main reason why people feel that they want to sell it themselves, they're trying to save the money on the commission. And the reality is you're trying to save that 5%, but it's really not 5%, because if you want to get a good pool of buyers, you have to offer out at least 2.5% out to the buyer side for any buyer's agent to potentially bring in a client. So therefore, you're trying to save 2.5%. And the reality is with that 2.5%, if you're not skilled on dealing with multiple buyers and knowing how to deal with a bidding situation or how to get people into a bidding situation, you're not going to make as much money on your home as you would if you hire a professional realtor. It's just crazy to not hire a professional realtor.
Yeah. Suzanne, what do you think?
Well, actually, Marcia, that's a great question. Look, every seller wants to get the most for their biggest investment, as Jeff said, right? Home is the biggest investment anybody has. And study has found homes that they list with an agent, on average, it sells 6% higher. And one of the many ways that we are able to give that effective exposure to a wide variety of marketing options that we have access to. A good agent tells the story of your home, right? Their expansive network, such as, like Jeff said, like other clients or other agents, which brings that qualified buyer who's the right fit for your home, which ultimately translates to more money, because at the end, every seller wants to get the most for their home.
Right. No, I agree. Carol.
So I think, to be honest, I think a seller could do a for sale by owner if they have the stomach for it. I think it can be very difficult for buyers walking through a home being accompanied by a seller. The seller can maybe say the wrong thing, point out negatives rather than positives. Mm. And it isn't just about somebody coming in with an offer. We do more about qualifying the buyer in terms of, can they really afford it? Have they been pre-approved as opposed to pre-qualified? Who's the buyer's agent? It all goes into making a smooth transaction. And I think our relationships with the other brokers is very, very important.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, we speak the language of real estate, I always say, right? You wouldn't do your own surgery. You would hire a surgeon. David, what do you think about that?
bottom line is you're looking at what you net in the end, and that's the most important thing. And a professional realtor who's good at their job is coming in, not only looking to prepare your house for sale, position it properly to really present value in the marketplace, which is going to create multiple offers. Once you're in that multiple offer situation, you have to steer the path, as Carol said, not only to choose the best buyer and the best buyer agent, because that does matter. There are some people out there who are adversarial. There are some who look to work the deal for their client and walk a nice middle line. But it's about getting to the finish line with the offer that you have in hand. And that's not always the highest offer. It's the offer that's giving you the best likelihood to make it to the closing table. And that's what it's all about. You make the wrong choice, it can cost you tens of thousands of dollars, not only with someone walking away, but just with regards to an inspection issue that may come up. So having a professional in your corner is imperative to netting the most money.
No, I
Totally agree.
Yeah. I mean, look,
Well said.
selling a house is more than putting a for sale sign in your lawn. It's from the beginning to the end, from preparing the home, from marketing the home, having the right partner by your side. And we all look at ourselves as partners, right?
Right.
And Marcia, with marketing, with Listing Concierge, we do have the Home Spotter Boost ads that go out that gives us an edge because it's hitting everybody that's looking at homes in Newton or in where our home is located. So we're privy to that information, and we're sort of hitting all those people up and advertising to them with our ads and showing them the homes.
Exposure, it's really exposure and presentation is the key to get the most number of buyers in your door. You just don't know who is going to give you the most money and the best terms for your house. Right. And, same thing when you have multiple offers. How many times have all of us had a number of offers? Oh, some agents only go back to one or two. Numerous times I've had someone who's come in with the worst offer to start end up with by far the best offer in the end. So how you handle the process can result in a lot of additional money for you.
I always say it's not where you start, it's where you end. And as a realtor and a professional, we can negotiate with that other agent because of our relationship with them and be able to get the top dollar for the seller, which I think is very important. I mean, I did a seller made an attempt to sell their house for like 2 months. And every weekend they tried to do open houses and they got one or two people. Well, they brought the listing to me. And the first week we had 18 people come through. And they were like, what do you mean you had 18 people come through? And I said, because we expose it properly. We get it out there so that everybody knows about it. All the co-listing realtors know about it. And they all want to see the property.
Yeah.
Plus, a lot of people don't want to deal with a for sale by owner. I think buyers are nervous to deal with for sale by owners, Jeff. Like, I know a number of people don't want to walk into the house when the seller's right there and be able to speak their mind about what's, what they really think about the house. And can I say one other point? The type of people that we deal with in the area that we deal with are highly educated. Everybody we deal with has, more degrees than a thermostat. So it's just, but it's not about how smart you are. And there's no doubt people are like, oh, I'm smart enough. I'm smarter than that guy. I could do what he can do. And the reality is, yes, there's many people that are smarter than we are, but it's not about that. It's about being smart in what we do in this business. And we live, breathe, sleep, eat real estate every single day.
100%, Dan, 100%.
So
and I just think that's a huge part about it, because when the rubber hits the road, yes, you could put a sign in the yard. Yes, you could find a way to get it on MLS as the seller. But when the rubber hits the road and you have an offer or someone in front of you and they ask you a question and you're all of a sudden like, oh, what am I doing? Am I making the right stuff? I've seen that time and time again when people try to do themselves, and then all of a sudden the emotions kicked in. It's a huge emotional deal what they're dealing with. And it's a huge asset. It's your biggest asset for most people. And you don't want to be stuck in that position.
It's also a big liability. As we talked about previously, sellers might not cover the lead paint situation. They might not disclose things that are actually, been done before. I mean, we've run into open permits that sellers don't have any idea about, which we do as professionals. We open up, check on permits. I just had a closing. There were 9 open permits that we ran around, to get them all closed, dealing with everybody. A lot of sellers have no idea what they need to do to get the house sold once they get their offer in hand. Because you have to continue to do those other steps.
And
it's interesting that, over time, and I know we kind of mentioned it earlier, I forgot who did, is that, I think it was Carol, for not looking to sell our own homes. That's one thing I'll never do. I'll never sell my own home. I've had other agents, managers actually hire us to work for selling their home, as well as immediate family members, because they know they're too close. They're too emotional. As Jeff had mentioned earlier, we tend to be an emotional barrier to put things in perspective, to really help facilitate the process going forward to get the best results in the end.
Yeah. And that's a great point, David, because when I was selling my mom's home, I was emotionally attached to my mom's home, obviously. And so that's why I hired an agent. And had it been up to me, the amount of time I would have put it on the market, this is prior to me being an agent, had I sold it by myself, is the time that you hold, the holding time, taxes and everything. So it's a lot easier to hire an agent who will price it correctly and ultimately takes you to the closing table. And that's what is the most important part. It's not the highest offer or amount of offers you get, but who actually can deliver at the closing table.
Right.
That's
well,
a great point, David.
I want to thank you guys. We recorded this at 8:30 in the morning, and you heard it from the experts. So stay tuned for next questions that we're going to be covering. Thanks so much, and
Thanks, Marsha.
see you out there. Okay,
Thanks,
bye.
Marsha.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.